Hello there and welcome to the We Are Imps podcast. This week we've gone remote. I'm in London and my guest today is in Manchester, and it's fair to say that he is a certified club legend. He made over 100 appearances, scoring 57 goals in between two stints before taking a little pit stop at New Zealand as well, whether it was a hat-trick against Grimsby, belters against Torquay, or knocking Scunthorpe out of the playoffs. This is a man that has given this club many, many memorable moments and memories indeed. It is, of course, Simon Yeo. Simon, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you very much. Thanks for asking.
Good man. Brings back some memories, doesn't it? And not just my bad chanting either.
It certainly does. I've had worse, so don't worry.
Talk to us about some of those memories then. I mentioned three there. Which ones stick out for you when you look back on your time at the club?
I think probably the biggest one is, well, like you say, the hat-trick at Grimsby, but I think the biggest one, which I think took me forward, was probably the Torquay game. He brought, I think Keith said to me 8 minutes to go, I think. He said, go on and get me a goal. So obviously I said, I will, Gaffer, I will. Anyway, I did, and the rest is history, shall we say.
Yeah, I mean, what is a moment like that? What does it mean to you? And, you know, I'm sure it's one of those where many fans have watched it back on YouTube hundreds, if not thousands of times. And you look at the I hate to use this term, but the limbs in the crowd. It's a huge moment for the club and a big moment for you personally as well.
Oh, definitely. I mean, it was 1-0 to Torquay, and you could sense the nervousness in the crowd. And like I say, obviously the ball come over, and it just set up nice for a volley. So obviously, I decided to volley it, and touch wood, it went in. And yeah, it's just such a relief when you're on a bad spell. You're not scoring, you're doing extra training, and then the extra training did pay off in the end. And you know, like I say, the rest is history. But it's a great feeling. Just scoring a goal is a great feeling, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, how do you deal with the come down almost? Because we speak to many footballers and they say there is no feeling in the world like
Yeah.
scoring a goal. So how have you dealt with that personally? Maybe since you've stopped playing.
Well, I've not stopped playing. I still play Sunday League, but yeah, from a professional view, it's difficult. It's more of a relief. It was more of a relief to get that goal, settle down, and then, like I say, the rest is history. We played then Scunny in the playoffs, and I just couldn't stop scoring.
You've scored so many big goals for this club. You know, when you look back at just some of them, whether it's against Swansea, Bournemouth, Kidderminster in there, I can think of as well. The aforementioned Torquay, Grimsby. You were often a man for the big occasion. Is there something about the extra pressure that means something more almost? Why is it that you were able to perform at your best when the biggest pressure was on, if you like?
I think mainly it's down to, obviously it's a team game as well, team performance, the players you play with, you train day in, day out. And I think Keith had a big influence on my career as well. And obviously Keith in his team talks, he'd do his full team talk, then he'd get you to one side, and he taught you, he'd put belief in yourself. And I think, you know, I owe Keith a lot, to be fair. So, but I think it's more down to Keith giving you the belief, if you know what I mean. I do put it down to Keith, and obviously playing with players.
Is that what a lot of players, obviously in particular yourself, are looking for from a manager? We can talk about tactics all day, whether it's in the modern game, whether it's 10, 15, 20 years ago. Are you looking for someone to actually go up to, particularly as a striker and like going through a bit of a barren spell, like you mentioned before that Torquay game, that comes up to you, puts an arm around your shoulder and goes, no, you've got this. You've scored God knows how many goals for us in the past. You're going to do it again.
Yeah, definitely. It's like, because obviously we had Simo as well. Simo would be doing the footballing. So, like I say, extra training. We do extra training, and he'd keep me out, and we'd put little sessions on. So that'd be the footballing side covered. But on the flip side, you had then a Keith that was a manager that put belief in yourself, and he did, and he was one of them managers where you'd run through brick walls for him, and I think that's why I fitted in well at the club to start off with, because he brought us in with players that have been from non-league, and he got us all settled down straight away.
And it was some team that you had in both of the occasions that you played for the club. Tell us what some of those players were like to play with. What was the camaraderie like as well? Tell us what you can, at least.
Well, I mean, you had Mazza, the experience. So we'll start with Mazza in goal. He was a bit of a funny guy. He had a lot of experience. Then you had Bimo. He was there. He's been there a few years. Who else was there? Then right back, Mark Bailey. Then we brought Futch and Weaves in 2 centre halves. We Gainey in the middle and Butcher, Richard, which he was in the middle of the park. And then we had like myself, Dean Cropper. And I think we used to, I think, obviously you got the football inside, the trainings, your tacticals, your mental stuff. And then on the opposite side, we had a team that would go out together. You'd have 6 or 7 lads going out, not all the time, obviously, but if we did well, we went out. And we'd have a good social side, shall we say. And that's how we got to blend with each other, get to know each other, know what people like, what we like doing, what our best assets. And that's as well down to Keith, because Keith knew we were going out. So did Simo. So I think with him, with his backing as well, we all got to know each other, and that's how we did well as a team, because we were obviously gelling together.
Do you think all teams back then, had the sort of camaraderie that you boys did as a club, as a squad, as a team? Or do you think it was a case that this was just a unique group of players? It's every so often, I hear a lot of footballers say it's only a couple of times in your career where you come alongside a bunch of lads that you just gel with. Do you think teams, I'm trying to think off the top of my head, whether it was a Grimsby, whether it was a Scunthorpe, do you think they were all going out as well and getting along as well as you boys did?
I can't answer that one, to be honest, but what I can answer is like I said, is that we all come together from different backgrounds, different leagues, and we all got together. And Keith, it was basically like a cake, and all the ingredients, which for those, he made I won't say perfect cake, but he made a near perfect cake. So in a sense, I'm not sure what other teams did, but we, for some reason, just gelled with each other.
I read an interview that you did. I can't remember who it was with. It might have been with 442, but you took them through your 1 to 11 of teammates, if you like. A lot of the players that you've mentioned there. One of those was, of course, Richard Butcher. I think in the interview you said the best engine I've ever seen. You said a couple of other things about him which were very complimentary, but did include swear words, so I won't mention them now. But you did say box-to-box players, a box-to-box player who could score goals. He had the worst banter ever, though, but he should have played at a higher level. I mean, just give listeners and viewers an idea of just what a good player and what a good person Richard Butcher was.
Well, you just hit the nail on the head, a box-to-box player. And I did say he's got an engine. He could get forward, he can get backwards, he could go sideways. He could cover every blade on the pitch. His passing was not bad, but his shooting was also decent as well. And he was such a lovely guy. We used to rip him a lot. He was just an easy target, to be fair. I think one of the funniest moments I've seen with Butch is I think we'd gone out to Ritzy. And next minute, his mum and dad are on the dance floor, and all the lads are just going, "Why have you brought your parents out?" And obviously, he took a lot of banter for that. But yeah, him and Peter Gain, amazing. The two in the middle, because that's how we played at the time. Box to box players going up the front and obviously out the back. And he was a wonderful lad. And even today, I still speak to his mother. He's very sadly missed.
Absolutely. One player that we haven't touched on yet is Gary Taylor-Fletcher. And in that very interview, you said, quick and very skillful. I used to love him running at defences because he could turn them inside out, which meant that he could create and make chances. And I think that was probably the big thing. That was probably why you two worked so well together.
Yeah. Me and Fletcher again. It's a forwards. It's a forward club. Like I say, we used to talk together, we trained together, and we just hit it off. We gelled. I know Fletch come from non-league Northwich, but some of his touches in training, some of his skills and that, his techniques and that was was awesome. It was fantastic. Pleasure to play with.
If we look at that 2003-4 season, Simon, what was it like for you? Which memories stick out? I know we've spoken a little bit about some of them. Obviously, there are a lot of big moments in there. Which ones for you stick out?
Bloody hell, that's a question. 2003. I think again, I'm going to go back to the football club itself and obviously the things behind the scenes, because I never, when obviously semi-pro, I thought it was disciplined and all and everything. So you have your routines and that. When I come to Lincoln, it was like, how can I put it? A first player to meet was Mazza, and he was, all right, mate, how are you? A bit of a chirpy lad. And I'm thinking, oh, here we go. And then obviously I got to meet Futch and Butch and everyone, Futch and Weaver. And it was just, how can I put it? It was just like, we're at a football club here. And a lot of the lads just used to like having a laugh, a lot of banter. Even the old boys were. So like not old boys, like your Bimos and your Andy, Mark Baileys. And it was just, I just really enjoyed playing for Lincoln, especially the first 2 years. But footballing wise, what sticks out for me was, I think I got 20, 24, 25 that season.
There's got to be a few in there. You scored 24 goals.
Yeah.
You're telling me there's not any moments.
I think it was we all know about the playoffs, but I think we played Kiddie at home, and I think it was Kidderminster at home, and I think I'm about 25, 30 yards out, and I think I dinked the keeper. That was a good goal. Also, the playoffs.
Did you used to practice those sorts of moments? Because how do I put this? Your way of finishing, I felt, was quite unique. I mean, there's an argument, really. I don't know if anyone's ever said this to you before, but the way you used to finish goals was almost like Michael Owen-esque. It was almost like a sort of, like, how have you managed to move? Strange way of putting it, but how have you managed to move your feet so that you've kicked it in that way? That is a really basic way of saying that, if you get what I'm saying. But was it all completely instinct, or was it something that you practiced?
A lot was instinct, but a lot was instinct. But I always say to players, when they've got the ball or running at people, get a picture in your head. Think of what you want to do with the ball. So what I mean by that is, let's say I'm one-on-one with a fullback. I'm running at the fullback with a ball. You have a quick look up, see where the fullback is, see where the 2 centre halves, see where the other fullbacks are, see where the keeper is, and just have a look, see where your teammates are. Quick glance. It's only a quick glance, but the brain's pretty good at, obviously remembering pictures and all that. And that's what I always say to people. Then decide what you want to do. Do you want to get in one-on-one? Do you want to go down the line? Do you want to come inside? Do you want to give a 1-2? Do you want to go to the back stick? And that's what I always say to football lads at my Sunday League team. Just get a picture in your mind, and that's all over the gaff, and then see where it goes. And that's what I always used to say to them.
I mean, it's great advice. I mean, you're certainly well placed to give it as well. Do you miss it? You obviously mentioned there you're still playing, you're still coaching as well. But how much do you miss it? And tell us about what you're doing now.
Yeah, well, obviously you all miss the football. I think the only thing I don't miss is the pre-seasons. But I do miss the banter in the room and in the changing rooms. I miss the day-to-day with your coaches and the gaffer and your players. But so at the moment I just play non-league. I've been out last year, not played much last year because I've had a back injury. So I think old age is starting to kick in. I'm now 50, but I still like me running, still like me cycling. and I'm still playing at the moment. So yeah, I'm enjoying it. Look, I'm 50 now. I still love kicking a ball. Still love doing charity games as well. So yeah, you know, it's it's a journey. It is coming to an end, but it's not going to come to an end yet.
It was such a varying journey towards professional football as well, wasn't it, Simon? Just tell us
Yeah.
about some of the roles that you had, you know, before you were a professional player, and what it was like. Maybe I'll pluck out, you know, traveling around Europe with the combined services. Am I right in saying something like that? You know, how much do those sort of life experiences shape you as both a person and a footballer? Because these days, I guess, for aspiring footballers, it's very much a case of get to an academy young, play football, education as well, and then play. Whereas you've had that sort of complete circle of life before you've even become a pro player.
Yeah. Well, obviously 17, 18, I was a little idiot. Basically, I was a little idiot. And I joined the army. Obviously, I did a couple of tours, come back. Then we started playing football. So it was company level. Then it went to battalion level, which was my regiment, Cheshire's. Then it went to infantry, which is all the infantry is in the UK. And then it went to obviously army. Met some good players there, Lee Bradbury, Justin Whittle, Gary Hall, and then once army it goes to combined services, which is the whole entire army. And didn't really do much military work after that because I was always touring with the football lads. But that brought me discipline. That brought me respect and discipline to the game, even though I did get sent off a couple of times. But yeah, that's what set me going. That basically is the military, which is obviously very grateful. But then I left the military, come out, played non-league, semi-professional for Hyde. There, I had 4 great years there under a gaffer called Mike McKenzie. I think averaged 35, 40, 120 goals in 4 seasons I got for Hyde. And that's when Keith came along. I was told that Crew Alexander was looking at me by the wife because someone had phoned up. So I'm getting a bit giddy here, thinking, yeah, go to Crew. Next minute, I got a phone call. It's Keith Alexander. So I said to her, I was a bit disappointed, but after that, after speaking to Keith and meeting him and signing for Lincoln, I wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, can you just give us a sense? And I know we've touched on Keith a little bit earlier on in the podcast, but just give us a sense of what conversations were like with him. I mentioned before about the idea that how important it is to actually put your arm around a player and give him that boost that he might need. But what was it about the way he spoke to players that galvanized you, made you want to be a part of the club and made you want to perform?
I think it's the way he spoke to you and looked after you. The guy had a charisma about him. It was just something about him that how he spoke to you, how he told, how he grabbed your arm around you. Some needed that, some didn't. I didn't. I mean, I can think of a situation where I played 2 or 3 games. Then he put me on the bench and he said, "I think you need a rest." So because I knew the man and loved the man, and I thought, I didn't say it to him. I thought, I think your decision's wrong, but I accept what you're doing. And he was always one of them people you could go up to, you could ask him questions, and he'd just be straightforward giving answers. And he was just like a gentle giant. And like I say, he was just his charisma, and he was such a nice guy as well.
Let's fast forward then and go towards the end of 2005, Simon. You obviously leave the club and move to New Zealand. It felt at the time, from a supporter's perspective, quite a left field move. Was it something that you always wanted to do? Did you see New Zealand as the place where you were going to move, where you were going to go and play your football, or was it one of those that just came out of the blue?
No, it's one of those that came out of the blue. And I spoke to Keith about it. And Keith's words were, if it doesn't work out, we'll have you back. And obviously that happened. But it was one of them, just come out of the blue. And I think my contract was up. Contracts were being sorted out. And And like I say, I spoke to Keith about it, and we sat down, we chatted, and he gave me his blessing, basically. Obviously, it didn't. Wife couldn't settle. Took my kids over, and yeah, that was some journey, that. But yeah, I came back, and Keith, he said to me, like I said, I spoke to him. He said, "You're more than welcome to come back here," because I think at the time it was Oxford. Oxford wanted me to sign for them with my mate Lee Bradbury. He was there, and he was saying, "Come down here." I mean, they were throwing money at me, but I wanted to go back to the place where I knew, if you know what I mean, and work with a manager that had put faith in me. So, like I say, I came back to Lincoln.
Yeah, because I don't know how many fans knew that you were coming back, but I remember I can't remember who we were playing. I'm going to pluck out Yeovil, but I can't quite remember. It was an evening game. I was sat in the then Echo stand, as it was, went with my dad.
Yeah.
And I remember Alan Long at half time introducing you on the pitch, and I nearly choked on my Bovril because I had no idea that you were coming back to the club. I don't know how many fans in the stadium did. Maybe there were a few that had a good inkling that you were returning, but I certainly didn't. And I just remember the hairs on the back of my neck standing up thinking, the hell, Yeo's coming back. What was that like for you?
Oh, like I say, it was a it was a non-gone decision of mine. Because like I said, I did speak to Keith, and Keith said to me, "Yeah, everything's good. Get yourself back here. We'll have you." And like I say, other teams were sniffing, but there was only one place I was going, and that was obviously back to Lincoln.
I forgot to mention as well, actually, one of your first games for New Zealand Knights, as they were, not sure if they're still called New Zealand Knights now, but they certainly were back then.
Wellington Phoenix now.
Wellington Phoenix, of course, they've changed the name, haven't they?
Yeah.
Was against Sydney FC and Dwight York, am I right?
Dwight York, yeah.
Did you have any dealings with Dwight? Were there a few similarities, two of you both moving over from Europe to the other side of the world?
We did, yeah. I think we played him 5 times. There's only 24 games in the season, but you played your pre-seasons as well. And I think we played him in pre-season as well. So I must have spoke to him about 3 times. And he was telling me stories, just talking about, what are you doing over here, blah, blah, blah. And he'd ask the same thing. And we just had a good chat. It was really good. It was, how could I put it? It was strange to see Dwight York, he used to play for United in an opposition team. So, yeah, I'm lost for words, if you know what I mean. But it was really good. It was really good.
So take us back to the season that you returned to the club then, because from what you're saying there, and I guess from the fans' perspective as well, it was very much a case of unfinished business. You've told us before you had the likes of Oxford almost throwing money at you, really, but unfinished business and a season that, it was so close in the end, wasn't it? But it was quite a roller coaster of a season, and the sort of season that as a footballer and as the striker of a football club, you want to be a part of.
Oh, definitely. Well, anyone that plays at a football club, wants to win trophies and win things. But I think it was again the playoffs. Was it the playoffs again? Was it playoffs? I can't remember who we played in the playoffs. But like I said,
it was Mansfield, wasn't it? No, but sorry, Macclesfield. Macclesfield in the playoffs.
Yeah, Macclesfield. We played them.
Macclesfield in the playoffs, and then obviously that game at the Millennium Stadium.
Yeah.
What was that like, being at the Millennium Stadium? I think we certainly outnumbered the Southend fans at the time. I think everyone went there with the belief that it was going to be job done, and it was just one of those days, wasn't it?
Well, yeah. I mean, I had scored. I was onside. That stuck out in my mind. But we I think we were more prepared that time. Obviously, the first time it was at Bournemouth, and the first time it was just like, wow, we're here. We're here. How are we here? We've tipped for relegation. But I think the first time it was just like unsurreal. So we were a bit giddy. But the second time, I think we were more focused. We knew what we had to do. We knew what we had to do to get the job done. And I thought, regardless of my offside goal, which was onside, I thought we should have won the game. But again, one of them. It was what's he called up front for the Southend? I can't. He scored.
Freddie Eastwood.
Freddie Eastwood, yeah, and it's like a sucker punch. You get the wind tucked out here, and it's a horrible feeling. It's not nice. But yeah, we were gutted. We were gutted.
But like you say, it's one of those, isn't it? It's a sucker punch.
Yeah.
It's almost, well, it felt like it was another one of those that brings the club almost closer together. You obviously want the promotion, but to go that far and to have the sort of season that the club did, it's almost a raw feeling where you're like, okay, well, we feel a sense of unity now. But maybe for you, did it feel like that you were coming to the end? So was it a different feeling? I don't know.
Not so much. It was coming to an end. It was just it was a feeling of despair. We've been in 4 playoffs, 2 semis and 2 finals, and we've lost another final. Again, I can moan on about the goal and that, but was it fate? I don't know. I couldn't tell you, to be honest. But again, like I say, it was disappointing, and the lads, I think it hit us hard because I think we started to separate after that. Was it 2006? Yeah, because I think didn't Keith leave? I think we left to go to Peterborough. I think was it that? Yeah. And going on to that little bit, I think we're all out of contracts as well. So there was a bit going on behind, so I'm told, off Simo. But yeah, it was despair. We've been there 4 times and we've not come away with a victory, shall we say?
Is it difficult when things are going on behind the scenes? And this goes for any player at any club, doesn't it? I can't relate to it, obviously, having never played professional football, but in one sense, you're trying to do your job. You're trying to appease the employers that are paying you. You're trying to appease the fans in the stadium who are cheering you on when you're doing well, but no doubt having a bit of a go if things aren't going so well. And you've got your own contract to be dealing with as well. What's that like as a footballer to try and comprehend?
Well, for me, it was a non-gone solution. I just left everything. When I get in a training park, I want to play football. That's all I want to do. Also, I just want to play with my mates with football, go do my training, then we come back, relax, have dinner, whatever, go do a bit of weight training, whatever, do something in the afternoon. But as far as I'm concerned, football was football. And I even say to the wife, look, she never got involved with football because she knew that was my biggest love, shall we say. Even though we've been married 28 years, she always, used to say to me, yeah, I know I won't get involved. But football for me is, getting on that pitch, going out training, have a bit of a laugh, enjoy playing with your mates, and then going home and socialising with them, shall we say.
One team we've not mentioned yet is Boston United. You did score a few goals against them, but I know there are a few games probably where you look back that were a little bit frustrating as well. Right in saying sent off in the 2002-03 season?
I don't know. I'll have to look back on that.
Someone will check that and either correct me or as is normally the way. And then my other note is that you got injured.
No comment.
And I wasn't at this one. I wasn't at that one, actually, I must say, but I wasn't at this one either. But my other note is that you got injured in 2005-06. And then you were driving back from the game. Can you remember? I'm guessing you can remember what happened. And if you can you talk us through it?
Oh, the injury.
Yeah. So you were driving. No, not the injury, but what happened? What followed then? Because you were driving back. And unless the interview was wrong, I read that the journey back nearly cost you your life.
Oh, you mean on the way home? Yes.
Just a small matter of nearly dying on the way home.
Oh, Woodhead, yeah. Basically, obviously, Woodhead, the A57, it links Stockport to obviously Sheffield. It's hilly. A lot of people know what I'm talking about. I was going back and got to the top of the highest point, and this cloud just come from nowhere, and the snow it just come out of nowhere. Anyway, I lost. Tried to slow down, but it was too late, and I started skidding. Anyway, my car ended up clipping. So as I'm skidding, I'm going from left to right. clipping the curb, then flipping over and landing in a ditch. Obviously, there's a fence post about 5 yards away from me. All I can remember of it was in the ashtray, I used to have pound coins. I could just remember them coins and all that hitting me in the face, and then just coming to a shudder halt and being hit with like mud and water. The bog that I landed in. So yeah, when I come out, and next minute, all I can remember is police being there and taking me down to the pub. But if I'd have done that, probably about 200, 300 yards on the left, I won't be here because it's steep hill.
Well, it was good of them to take you to the pub after.
Yeah. I was a bit shaken until the wife come and picked me up, and then obviously the car. But it was just something. It was just this wave I've missed that just hit me, and I couldn't see. And next minute, I was there and everywhere. Yeah, it was weird.
I mean, does a moment like that change your perspective? A word that you've used a couple of times on this podcast so far is grateful. And gratitude is obviously a big thing. It's something that's talked about probably now more so than ever. But when you have what is clearly a near-death experience, does it change your philosophy, change your perspective?
Not really, no, because I had to do that nearly every week. So yeah, no, you just had to get on and get on with it. To be fair,
that's fair enough. I don't know. Sorry, that answers for me. Let's move on then. What about the state that the club is in now? Time of recording, we're off the back of a brilliant victory against Cambridge. The Michael Skubala era well and truly fully in motion at the moment, Simon. What are you making of, firstly, the impact that he's had at the club, and just give us a general oversight into your thoughts on where Lincoln City are in this very moment?
Yeah, he's not had a bad start. So I think there's good things to come. Obviously, Mark Kennedy, what can I say? He did all right for the club, I suppose. He won a few games, he lost a few games. That's how management is. Could he have kicked on? Who knows? That's football. But with Michael Skubala coming in, let's hope he does take us to the next level. Because I think Mark Kennedy was a bit mid-table-ish. So I think by being, obviously they got rid of him and obviously brought Michael Skubala in. So now I was speaking to a Leeds fan, and they were actually purring about him. They were saying, he did. They all had good words about him. So I was like, well, I don't know anything about him, and they were all buzzing. Well, they weren't buzzing, but they were disappointed to have let him go, or gone to Lincoln. So I was like, all right, okay, I look forward to it. Let's hope that we can get promotion, because I think the Championship would be the next level that hopefully he can take us up to.
Yeah, I mean, that was my next question. The obvious one is, do you think this club is on the way to the Championship? And I guess when you look at the League One table this year, it is pretty open. There is an opportunity there to maybe take advantage, because it comes in cycles, doesn't it? And the same could be said for 2005-06 when you look back. But there are those years where you think, okay, there's a couple of clubs that might come down next season that are going to splash the cash. That might be a real sort of difficult team to break down, if you like. But actually, this year there's an option there, or an opportunity there, I should say. Well, there's an opportunity.
Who knows? Football's football. If you can get another couple more wins, that'll take us right up there. Has he got the ability to do that? Like I say, I spoke to Leeds fans. More than enough. They were all like purring about him. So I mean, I don't know what kind of situation the club is with funds wise, but I think we should be in a very good position. And let's hope the club will back the gaffer, because I think after 4 games, play 4, 1, 2, drew 1, lost 1. It's not bad start.
Just listening to you speak, I mean, it seems like this club is still very much, close to your heart, Simon. Obviously, still living in Stockport. You were back at the time when you were playing for them. you know the results, you know how they're getting on. You obviously keep an eye on them as well. Give us a sense into just what the club, the people at it mean to you.
Well, the people that know me in Lincoln, especially some of them at the Shakespeare pub on the High Street. Yeah, they know me. But yeah, I've made a lot of friends. Like I say, I've made a lot of friends in Lincoln. A lot of them are on Facebook, so I still speak to them. I won't say day in day out, but still in regular contact with him. Like I say, I've always been welcomed at Lincoln, and I like coming back. I like doing the ex-players when we come back and with Gavin Gordon, and I like coming back and just talking to people about stories, and just watching the games and enjoying myself, shall we say? Because it's a club that welcome me, and I'll always be grateful on that one.
Good man. And just give us an insight then into exactly what you're doing now. We've touched on it a little bit of coaching in there, bit of Sunday league as well. What's life for Simon Year like at the moment?
Oh, it's I'm getting old now. I'm getting a bit tired. Just like I say, I'm working still at the airport. Still doing that. As for football wise, it's Sunday league for me now. I've dropped down. Love me coaching. Do a bit of coaching with the lads. Love to coach, especially the older boys, because I think they take more information on rather than youngsters. But still love football. Still like keeping in touch with players. Still look for results of Lincoln. Still on a few of the fans' websites, so I still listen to him moan and this, that, and the other. You can't please some people, can you? But listen, I always keep in touch with a few of my Lincoln friends as well. So I always keep in touch, and I'm just going day to day now, I suppose.
Well, Simon, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the We Are Imps podcast, and we look forward to seeing you at the LNER very, very soon indeed.
Certainly will, yeah, definitely. I look forward to it.